Come one, come all. Welcome to what was that? That was the worst intro ever.
I'm definitely paying attention. Don't mind me.
Bruno Free Takes Podcast. My name is Abe. My name is John,
And I am Josh.
and we're two idiots. We're two idiots doing a podcast. We've been training for a long time, and we both had stellar years, and we want to do a look back on 2025, but also a look ahead to 2026, and kind of talk about who we think are some winners and losers. So, I mean, I'm still in this format. I'm literally stealing this nearly word for word from the All In podcast. The winners and losers with some traderfied variations. So, Abe, I'm gonna ask you to kick things off for the excitement. Who do you think was the biggest winner? What company do you think was the biggest winner this year? And
Palantir.
and really, that's actually not what I expected. But then, who do you think will be the biggest winner next year?
I say Palantir only because I believe that growth is a lot more like long term sustainable. Like there's the Oklos and but the volatility that comes along with all that. It wouldn't be surprised to see those things cut in half, even if longer term they do rebound and continue to grow. There's just a lot more volatility with it. But Palantir's growth seems to be number one phenomenal this year, and number two, I think it's more sustainable and more blue chip esque.
Really? Yeah. Can you tell me?
Mhm.
Can you tell me in one sentence what they do? What their AI does?
It's AI solutions for government, organization of data, basically, and um,
So you think they're going to do well
uh,
because government's going to keep expanding?
well, government has never not expanded.
That's good. Fair enough.
I mean,
Fair enough.
and it's not just government. I mean, it's the private sector too, and there's been much more of an adoption of AI within the military industrial complex. You're seeing it all across the board with all these different companies. I think there's a place for Palantir in that arena too. PMs, like not PMCs, but private weapons manufacturers, technology manufacturers, all that kind of stuff. Like it seems kind of like right up their alley.
Yeah, you feel. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of like part of a bigger. So, who do you think will be the biggest winner next year?
Um, Also, the second runner-up for the biggest winner this year, I guess, would be gold and
That's not a
metals in
company,
general.
but yeah,
That's what I mean.
I see
But
it
yeah, I
being.
mean, as far as
Yeah,
asset classes go, metals had a phenomenal year.
that's
The
also
biggest
fair.
winner next year,
Yeah.
I don't, I don't know. I hope Tesla gets some momentum, depending on how these robots get rolled out. If we actually do see deadlines being hit, I think also with Tesla, you've got a slow rollout going of the robo taxis. I'm not sure how they're going to roll that out as far as like US wide and how that's going to be implemented. I think it's currently done through like the Tesla app.
Mhm.
Um, I don't I don't know if there's future potential partnerships with like Uber and Tesla, or anything like that. Or if it's just going to be purely Tesla, proprietary to Tesla. But I think if you could get both of those things happening in this next year, and we could get a little excitement behind Tesla, there's a lot of upside. Plus, people are just kind of anticipating with this pay package and the motivation for Elon to actually hit these achievements. I know I myself am looking at that as a huge positive for the stock because Elon's not an idiot. He knows that he has a certain time frame in order to grow this company if he wants to get paid and maintain control of the company.
Yeah. All right. I think the biggest winner. That's all fair. I think the biggest. I have some comments on that, but we'll wrap around back to it. I on another point, I'll have Tesla comments, but my biggest winner this year is Google. They won on some pretty key. Um, the EU was coming after them, and they had U.S. litigations. They all pretty much went in Google's favor. Won a major lawsuit against Apple as well. Gemini ended up at the end of the year squeaking out top placement against GPT, and now
Jim and you? Do I know Jim?
Gemini.
Jim and you?
What are you talking about? Is that something I said?
Oh,
What is
Gemini.
that? What is that? Some Chinese CEO? What are we talking about?
I thought Jim and you ended up squeaking something out at the end of the year.
Gemini? The AI?
It sounds like you're saying Jim and I. Maybe it's just me.
The dumbest joke ever. I don't know what's dumber, that joke or the fact I just went right over my head.
Bad joke.
Yeah. And then they got the number one streaming platform of the year. Waymo ended up getting a lot more exposure, attention, and innovations. I think there are some LiDAR innovations that really were swept under the rug.
Do you think Waymo is actually relevant?
I think Waymo's ahead. I mean, look, when I listen to a lot of podcasts that aren't market related, and they don't talk about Tesla self-driving, they talk about Waymos in the cities. So like these Waymos that are everywhere. I mean, I hear it on like every comedy podcast I listen to. So yeah, I think Waymo has captured the attention of the culture in a way that Tesla hasn't. So yeah, I think that they're the winner.
I think they're winning, but Tesla already has the technology in place to quickly, because like
Tesla got a late year rally, but I think actually Google even beat them in performance. I don't know.
It's got to be close.
Yeah,
phenomenal.
I think the biggest winner next year though will be I think the biggest winner next year will be,
say, American drone companies.
Wait, what? American drum company?
Drone companies or robotics companies.
No, I think the biggest winner next year. I'm actually, the reason I'm pausing is because I'm actually torn between three, but I'm gonna lock it in. I think it's gonna be Micron Technology. They're coming into this year with a crazy low PDE ratio. Everyone's rapidly trying to compete in the GPU market. Meanwhile, there's a massive shortage in memory, and Micron is the clear leader. You also have SanDisk also competing in the memory space, but no one there's really there to try and compete against Micron. So I think they're going to be a massive winner in 2026. And as far as performance goes, I think they're set up to win. And I think a lot of robots don't need GPUs because they could be all operated from the cloud. But they do all need memory. So you need memory both in the cloud infrastructure and you need memory in all the robots. And I think that's how MU
what do you think
surprises.
What do you think about like Elon talked about chip development of his own proprietary chips. Do you think there's going to be any of these major companies that actually end up spinning off, like maybe a secondary company that they start their own chip company specifically for like AI purposes?
Do you think what I'm a little confused by the question. Why Elon already has XAI as an AI company, or am I misunderstanding what you're asking?
No, the actual hardware. So like with these huge companies starting to actually produce some of their own hardware, like Elon talked about the fact that they're basically designing and making their own chips for certain applications. Do you think there's a possibility of?
I think there's a bunch of startups that are doing it, and everyone's kind of got their own chip already. Like Amazon has their own chips. Apple has their own chips. Google has their own chips. I don't think Tesla is making a chip yet. I think Elon would have said something. He's not really
He
the
did.
one about making their own chip.
About design it, yeah, about developing their own chips specifically for their purposes, along with a bunch of other companies. So I guess my question would be, wouldn't it be a logical next step for if you got all these different large, like, mega cap companies with these billions and billions, and we're going into this AI new era? Do you see any of these companies, Google, Microsoft, Tesla, is there a market out there for them to enter the chip space?
I mean, a lot of them already have. But I guess that's what I'm confused on. Like Google's in
As
the
far as
chip space,
manufacturing,
Amazon's in the chip space. Oh, as far as
for
manufacturing
themselves,
goes,
for themselves, they do it for themselves. What I'm saying
right,
is,
to sell it
is
to
there
the
a market out
market.
there?
Yeah,
Yes,
Meta's buying some of Google's chips. Um,
that's not their
even
business.
Nvidia bought a chip startup. They bought GrowQ, which makes a
I mean, that is their business.
yeah. Well, I know, but like, but I'm just saying that there are other companies in the manufacturing space, and I think there's going to be. I think that's going to be the trend, is acquisitions of these small companies. Are gonna what's come around. What's up, Vincent? We're doing a podcast. You could welcome to chip in if you'd like to. So next, let's move on though. Next one, biggest loser for 2026. Doesn't have to be a company. And who do you think will be the biggest? Oh no, I'm sorry, I messed that up. Biggest loser in 2025, and who do you think will be the biggest loser in 2026?
I think the biggest loser that stands out in my mind is a geopolitical loser, and it's everybody but the United States when it comes to these tariffs and us drawing capital back to the U.S. So, and not in the sense that these other countries necessarily lose by the U.S. generating all this capital that's coming back to the U.S., but in the sense that it's been something that for a long time people have just kind of gotten away with. Um, what I would consider an unfair market, and it's being corrected.
I don't want to derail this whole podcast with a political debate, but I
It's
think
crazy, I know.
I think that's a crazy take. I think
Okay.
I don't think there's many hard numbers at all for when it comes to money coded into the U.S. But we'll see, and that could be wiped out literally next month if the Supreme Court calls the tariffs illegal. Then we have to pay back the money, which I think will then show us how little we actually generated. Because when we pay people back, it'll be like, yeah, here's your $2.
We disagree. That's okay.
Okay. Um, who do you think will be the biggest loser next year? Same trend?
Um, yeah, I don't know. I haven't really biggest loser next year. I think next year is kind of the make it or break it year for the Trump presidency. Number one, because you have midterms coming up, and number two, just for the like the implementation of policies that have happened this year are going to have some time to work, and we're going to actually see whether these were good ideas or bad ideas. So I think next year will be the prove it point for the administration, for the country, and we're going to see how, if we really are in a recession, if we really are moving in the right direction. So not necessarily that we're going to be any particular company is going to be the biggest winner or loser. It's just I think next year will be the most revealing year of the 4-year chunk under this administration.
Do you think if there is going to be a biggest loser is going to develop from that?
I think we'll know
You think
by the end of the next year,
you think
like which direction
midterms are
we're
going to?
headed.
You think midterms are going to flop? Yeah, but who's your biggest loser? I
Oh
want you
yeah,
to.
midterms. I think midterms are going to be really bad for the current administration unless they drastically change something. I mean, I think it was evident just in these last elections that like the people are not happy as far as not only not happy, but like they're
Yeah.
there was a lot of like groundswell for and a lot of political effort put into getting this administration into power, but it seems like all that kind of died, and like there's a lackadaisical and laziness of the current administration when it comes to like campaigning and keeping the fervor alive in order to stay in power. Which, if that can't be revived, there's a very slim chance of maybe we lose. Who knows? What is it? The House has how many seats that they need to lose in order to lose power. So we could see the government structure as far as the control of the House and the Senate shift, and that's going to limit the president's ability to get things done.
Yeah. That's fair. I think that the biggest losers, I actually have two biggest losers for 2025. I think Duolingo and Adobe were the two biggest losers of 2025. Just two companies that had all the wind at their back, that were supposedly leaders in their respective industries with very little competition, basically monopolies, and both fell flat on their face and failed to adopt to AI. Lots of people are making the argument that Adobe's actually a great buy right here, but I think Adobe's probably going to end up going out of business because, I can use AI right now just in a web browser and literally make Adobe's platform for free. I just ask AI, make me my own version of Duolingo that teaches me a language, and it will literally just spit it out. So I think that company is actually just a goner. I don't think they've done a good job of innovating, and I think Adobe there's just too much competition, and they're too slow, and their platform sucked, and they never went back to first principles and tried to rebuild their platform. They just became this slow moving boomer company that just
Don't use boomer as a pejorative.
It is a pejorative. They just became this slow moving boomer company that just wasn't innovating, wasn't rebuilding things from the ground up to keep up with the new contenders in the space, or trying to make their software easier to use. And I think they're just gonna get wiped out.
Do you think that Apple is right behind them if they can't turn things around?
I think,
or do you think Apple has enough products and revenue that it can be like basically a stagnant company for years to come?
Stagnant company. Yeah, I think so. I think Apple can coast for quite a while.
I think that's fair.
I think they're just going to keep buying back their own stock. I mean, people think I'm crazy for my Apple hate. They said I was crazy all this year. They said I was crazy all last year, and then the stock bounced a little bit, and people still think I'm just this crazy Apple hater. But the stock underperformed the index last year. It underperformed again this year. I think it'll underperform again next year. But it's middling along enough that people aren't really complaining about it, and there's enough going on, and there's enough conversation, and to keep it afloat. Really, there's enough buybacks to keep it afloat. Because keep in mind, that stock is underperforming with them buying back year over year, over 100 billion worth of their stock. They bought back 200 billion in stock this year, and it still underperformed the index. I don't know how you don't call that just a massive L. What? I mean, the cope is real with people that are like, oh, Apple's doing so well. No, they're not. So that's pathetic. The biggest loser. Okay, I got a really interesting one for 2026. I think the biggest loser in 2026 will be Michael Burry. He created his Substack, which quickly got 2 million subscribers.
Well, he rage quit before he did that.
Yeah, he rage quit his fund. But then he got his massive payday. Making a Substack, gets all these subscribers, gets all this attention. I think before the end of 2026, people will realize that he is super mediocre investor who got one thing right one time, but his track record sucks. And I think he loses half of those subscribers if this market. I think we'll get like a dip in the beginning of the year, and then he'll get super mega bearish, and then get wiped out when the market bounces, and he'll lose half of his subscribers when they realize he's just full of shit.
Yeah, I'm looking at 2026 as a bullish year. I think the market next year is up
Yeah,
at the end of the year.
we'll see. Well, I mean that's fair prediction. Okay, so I mean to that end, oh, what is something the market is signaling that you think won't happen? Whether it's like bonds
I
not
don't think we're
getting
going to have a
bid,
recession.
you know, think we're gonna have a recession.
No.
I actually
Disagree.
surprisingly agree with you.
Oh.
I think
Never mind. I changed my mind.
All I've been doing is digging through the numbers to try and figure out if I think there's going to be a recession, and I really don't think it's going to happen. I think we're going to middle along. I think the upper end of the K-shaped economy can actually carry us further than we think, and I think the administration is going to pump money to keep it afloat and keep things.
Here's what I want to see. I want to see the first 2 months of the year. The trend that we've currently been seeing is volatility just slowly been sucked out of this market. We just hit new lows in volatility, or maybe not new lows, but pretty daggum close.
Yeah, I mean, we broke below 14 for a minute there. That was pretty wild into the end of the year. Even with the market not hitting new highs, volatility hit new lows.
Yeah, and not only that, the ranges that we've been seeing. So it's difficult, and here's why I say I want to see another month or two, because it's difficult because these last couple of weeks there's not a lot of volume, there's not a lot of participation. So I want people to come back to the table, sit down, and then I want to see what happens for the first 2 months of the year. And if we still continue this trend after 2 months of the year of volatility not really expanding, then I think the scare of the Trump administration is kind of being priced out of the market at that point, because the volatility was, in my interpretation, the way of the uncertainty of a Trump administration being priced into the market for the last year. That's why we had these elevated levels of volatility, because it's just like a wild card. Nobody knows all these new things coming about, tariffs, political tensions with the Middle East, with Russia, Ukraine, with Israel, Iran, all that. But moving forward,
I mean, that sounds through. You know what you just laid out there. I just sorry to interrupt you, but what you just laid out there is like Tom Lee's thesis. You know, the big Giga Bear. The Giga Bull, who is saying that the market did everything it did this year with all of that chaos, and next year a lot of that's going away. So it's just gonna be straight up.
I don't know who he is, but he sounds smart. Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
No, that is my thesis. I think if we can get to the point where there's a couple of months of getting these ranges a little bit smaller, we could be in for a year of really boring markets that just kind of grind up, slowly up and to the right for this next coming year.
I don't.
Really sucks for trading, but I think it's likely.
Yeah, I do think that's contrarian too, by the way. My contrarian opinion is I think that gold and silver will collapse in 2026. Because if things chill out,
What do you mean by collapse? Like a 30% drawdown?
40% drawdown.
I wouldn't be surprised.
From the current prices, yeah.
I'm short gold. Or not short gold. I'm short silver, but
yeah. Yeah, short silver's been a nice short.
Yesterday it wasn't.
Well, I actually got out yesterday, shorted it into today, and then flipped long this morning, and then it quit working. I got out with a little bit of profits in my longs and just watched it plummet more. I didn't put anything on.
Today's price action in conjunction with yesterday's price action and the previous days, like these swings that we're having, to me, that tells me that, hey, we're at a point
Yeah.
where people don't know what to do, and
All right.
it's getting real frothy. And this thing could
That's
have
usually before
it
it
could
goes.
have another yeah, it could have another 10% up day tomorrow or on Friday when the market opens back up, or it could have another 10% down day.
Yeah. Agreed.
But I think it's more likely that we see a couple of 2 to 3% down days. We break through some of these things. We get one or two ugly days, but then the trend just continues lower.
Um, agreed. Okay, so what trend are you most excited about for next year? What do you think will be the big trend? I think the big trend this year was AI, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing that says that that's going to change. I mean,
You think
AI is
it's
still
gonna? You
gonna be
think
the
you think
product-
run it back to back?
Yeah, I think the AI is still going to be the predominant market force.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
Why not?
I think robotics will be
early
the.
stages.
I think. You know what? Let me think about that. I think it's hard. I think actually either robotics or
Is that your kid outside the door? I can see a shadow under your door. Is that a
that might
kid or
have
a
been my
dog?
son, and that might have been my wife fetching him. uh, I think it's either gonna be robotics or it's gonna be space. I think if I had to pick, I
think space is like 3 to 5 years.
Really, I think SpaceX is gonna IPO next year, and even though it won't actually happen next year, I think that will cause. You know what? I'm gonna go robotics because I think actually what happens next year is SpaceX IPOs at way too high of a valuation, and then all year there's no innovation, and it just just sells off for the rest of the year. That actually wouldn't shock me, unless space centers go to space. I mean, data centers go to space. Then I think you got a hype train to ride there. I know
Data centers are not going to go to space.
Well, I know they already are. I know NVIDIA already successfully has a data center in the space through one of their
That's the
AI.
dumbest.
The Angel invested in a startup, and they have a tiny data center that ran an AI from it.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Okay. Well, I mean, all the smart people in the AI space love the idea, so I don't know.
Why?
Maybe
How do you protect a data center?
Where's
that's
your
in space?
engineering degree from again?
How do you protect a data center in space?
From
what?
what?
From a national security standpoint, how do you protect a data center that's in space?
Oh, I haven't got a slightest clue, but that's what you figure out later.
That seems like it should be something we figure out before we put them up there, in my point of view. It's like there's a reason we don't put our data centers in Russia, right?
But okay, with that logic, we wouldn't have all of our production already in China. Like that would have never happened. So I don't think that's a thing people think about.
Right, but we don't build our data centers in China under Chinese companies and have all of our data being run by Chinese companies. Like that's the whole reason that
I mean, we don't put our
TikTok was
data centers in there,
we
but
had
they
a
definitely
divest-
have most of our data.
Yes, we do. Well, yes, that's because they're very good at certain things.
No, it's because they made an app everyone loved.
Exactly. They're
Yeah.
very good at certain things, which is
Yeah.
collecting our data.
Yeah. So I mean,
But when it
there's
comes
no
to
foresight
actual-
in the American population. We're just
I'm just saying, it's
dim-witted,
just-
honestly.
To me, like if I, that's my biggest issue is a security issue. If we're talking about putting data centers in space, what? How do you secure that?
Full speed ahead.
We're gonna have the Space Force stationed up at our data centers to shoot down incoming ballistic missiles.
Did I give my contrarian take? I don't think I gave my contrarian take because I do have one. I think Tesla actually is a big loser next year. That's my contrarian take. I was up until the Tesla has been my largest
loser.
it's been my largest position since 2024. I got it for automation, robotics, and energy. I didn't really care about the EV business, so I wasn't worried about that failing. But now it's missed earnings 3 quarters in a row. They're making deals with SpaceX. It's like SpaceX is buying a massive amount of Cybertrucks. To me, that feels like incest. It's very gross. I don't like to see that. Um, they're not getting. They don't have any of the licenses they need for self-driving. They're not even trying to get them, which tells me it's probably not coming in the future. Elon's back at the company working full time, and so the stock rallied, but he hasn't produced anything. And he got this. He put $1 billion into the stock. Got the big deal. He wanted to work on robotics. Nothing since. Radio silence on what's happening with robotics. He made one. He was supposed to do a presentation at the end of this year. We got nothing. We were supposed to hear about development and working on Optimus's fingers for I don't know, we call that acute functionality. Nothing on that. So I'm very disappointed and actually starting to get concerned that you know what? The Bears say that this stock could go to 50, and I will say anything below 100, it's an instant buy for me. I don't think they're going out of business. I think they could just have a really, really rough year. I still think if you try to price this like an EV company, you're delusional. But I just think the stock's way up there, over $1 trillion.
Over under on Elon becoming a trillionaire next year.
That's hard because I think SpaceX is going to have an amazing IPO. I think the run up in Tesla. I mean, this guy's got too. Look, you can't really hate the guy. He's the greatest entrepreneur that ever lived. I mean, he's got a successful social media. I mean, users might complain. I've actually been complaining. X has been absolutely horrible for generating like views and attention and getting traction. And it's not just me complaining about that. Even like people much bigger than me keep complaining about it. But it's rough because it's like I give you all this money to verify my account and have these special features, but I don't feel like I'm receiving them. So what are we doing? And maybe I gotta do the 10,000, to be a verified company on there. You have to pay $10,000 a year. So maybe that's what I gotta do. Maybe that's the next leap. But it's like if the lower tier does absolutely nothing, how am I sure that major investment will do anything? So that's goofy, but
don't do that.
Right?
That's would be my logic. Would be, let's not do that.
Yeah. So, but he's also got SpaceX. He's also got the Boring Company. Maybe he'll do a few more projects there, and make something happen. He could. If there's anyone I wouldn't.
I think if not by 2026, 2027, I'm giving it 80-20.
Yeah. Really? But wait, if you extend it out to 2027, you think 80-20?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's
next year,
fair.
60-40.
I think 100% chance by 2030, he's a trillionaire.
Yeah. If I had to lay odds, it would be like I'm giving a 5 delta that he's not. if that.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay. Which media company do you think will be the biggest winner next year? And biggest loser?
Media company?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think overall that YouTube just dominates the space. That like on an aggregate scale, they're going to be the biggest winner as far as revenue generated. As far as growth goes, I don't know. Like growth relative to your current size, that's harder to pinpoint. But I think on a massive scale, I think it's going to be YouTube, just because they already have the market and they're going to continue to maintain the market.
I think
But as far as
if we're talking growth, I think we both agree Angel Studios will be who wins that.
well, that's what I'm. That's yes. I mean, that's where my money is placed
Yeah.
is on Angel Studios for growth. But as
Do you
far
know?
as
Do you
like,
know how much growth they had last quarter? What they reported?
yeah, I read it. I don't remember it right off the top of my head.
Over
It was like 100.
600%.
Yeah, it was good numbers,
Oh,
which was
better
crazy
than in
like the
in
stock did nothing.
yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, it's just nonstop good headlines. Analyst upgrades, smash ticket sales. Their social media accounts are blowing up. They're doing Mr. Beast type advertisement videos now, where they're like giving like leading up to Christmas, and I think even now they're still doing these trends where
They have some things they need to work out,
yeah.
and they need to generate other sources of revenue down the road, but they're not there yet.
Well, I think they're doing amazing. Yeah, I think they could sell products and stuff, and I think they're doing the social media game super well. It just feels like a very organic growth, uh, and a good organic advertising methodology and a very cult-like following. Which
Well, and
I mean, you just
it's
throw all your
something that's
money in
been
that. I mean,
needed. It's been something that's been needed for a long time.
yeah. So I think that they could be. I think you're. I we were supposed to interview the co-founders, and they said, "Can we push it back to next year?" So we're supposed to be talking to them actually, so that'll be great, and I'm super excited about that to talk to them. But I think whoever is the fastest to adopt AI wins, and I think that'll be YouTube. I think it'll be individual creators.
So if you had one bit of what if you have one bit of advice to give to the Angel Studio C-suite executives, you would think that would be in the AI realm. You think or do you think they should keep doing what they're doing and not shift focus?
Wait, we're talking about Angel Studio, right?
Yeah. So you think Google will be successful because they're going to embrace it, and that'll be something
Yeah,
that will be coming out
I'm worried
here
if
in the.
I'm 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 worried that I think it's most essential that the smaller companies are the quickest to adopt the new technology because it's one of the only advantages they truly have. Like they can't outspend the bigger companies. They can't do as spectacle like productions. They're winning in the areas where they can win, where they're quicker with the social media, they're more in touch with their users, they're more cult like because they're more personable and they fill a niche. And the bigger companies don't do that.
So if you think, let me ask you this: do you think something like a pet project AI generated content would be a category when you log into Angel Studios if they started just a side project where like they allowed people to submit for them to produce and publish AI generated content, and that was something that you as a guild member got to vote on the AI generated content? Do you think that would be helpful for them?
I think it would, yeah. I think it would be massively helpful for them because I think
I tend to agree, but I don't know. Like, I only know what I've seen online as far as like what I see on reels and stuff like that. Like, I've never seen a full production of an episode of anything that was generated purely by AI to be even able to judge. Like, I've seen a lot of shorter videos, but I've never seen like full form content that was.
well, I don't think there's a lot of transparency on how it's being utilized. Um yet, but I think it is. I think because I think there were several companies that were talking about, you know, was it the Paramount CEO? Who was it? Who just split? Shoot, they just did a split from Stars. They're listed on their own as a pure play on the market. Oh my gosh! I just hold up. I just did a write up on. I made a note of them for Discord members to kind of keep an eye on it this week. Lionsgate has been making posts about, I shouldn't say posts. The CEO has directly said that they're trying to be a first mover in AI, and they've already been utilizing AI in a lot of like their visual effects and stuff. So I think that's where it starts, and then it rapidly grows from there. Because if there's any space where this should really
So it's almost
dominate,
like a
yeah,
so it's almost going to be like introduced as like a new form of CGI and then grow from there type deal.
yeah. Because like instead of like needing like three engineers to make this certain to make the flames more realistic, you just enter a prompt in the AI and say, hey, make this look more realistic. So I think that's will eventually evolve to here's the script for the show, and then it spits out an episode in like an hour or whatever. I think that's what's coming. And I think for
I
like,
think even if it's not right off the bat, the sheer amount of volume and content to be created is enough to offset what would be considered potential quality, especially when you're talking about a new company like Angel Studios, that's where they lack is the sheer amount of content. So if you can make up some of that space uh, with maybe a little bit lesser of quality content, but the volume could be amped up to the point where people would have a reason to go watch something new on a much more frequent basis. Because like their problem now is they can only put out so much so fast.
yeah, well,
They can put out movies, shows, stuff like, but everything takes so much time, and you've got these other established platforms that have an archive of content for like 20 or 30 years where a user can go there and have a plethora of content to consume, and they're trying to compete and get up to speed in an environment where the competition is like, I want to be able to go somewhere and have a bunch of options where they're limited in their options now. I view AI as a source of maybe they can increase the speed at which they can put out content
right.
by leveraging
And,
AI.
and well, that's why I think that Netflix got such a negative reaction to the news. I think it's two things. When that they did the bidding war, the stock went down. The market didn't like them wanting to spend all this money on an acquisition for a business that wasn't profitable. I think for two reasons. One, why aren't you just leveraging AI to establish your content library? And two, I think it's also a signal to the market due to the timing of when they're choosing to do this that it means that they think there is issues with the amount of content in their library. And I think there is too, because honestly, everyone thinks that quality is going to go down with AI, but they're acting like the quality is broadly high. I just don't think that's maybe for HBO. I think HBO on average has better rated shows that get more viewers, even though they don't have as many, but they do fine with that. I think Netflix throws darts at the board, gives anyone a show that wants a show. Most of this is absolute garbage. Like there, I had turned on an HBO show. There's lots of HBO shows. So I'm like, this isn't for me.
There's a lot of people that like that garbage stuff. Like, why do you think soap operas exist? There are people that religiously tune in for a soap opera that had about 40 minutes of production value prior to it being recorded, and they air every day. And there are people that religiously watch that
That's
stuff
true.
every
That's
day.
true. That's true. That's true. That's kind of just
Like,
me.
that's something
I
AI could
can't,
easily
dude.
take care of.
At the
Like,
act,
AI
to
could
be honest,
handle that.
at the acting's bad and the writing is like there's a zombie show that's really popular on Netflix, and there's so many plot holes. The acting is horrible. The writing makes no sense. The
But
characters
it's
do
a
the
group of
dumbest
people
thing.
looking
I think
for
it's
that
called like
content.
I think it's like Black Summer or something. And
It's
I
like
think it's
it's
the
like a
worst
soap
show
opera
ever
for
made.
people that just want to have some mind-numbing thing to watch.
Oh, it is so bad. Okay, anyways.
Uh, yeah,
Um
we got
you're,
really
you're
far
right.
off track.
Yeah. All right. So back on track.
I just remember going to my like grandma's house, and every time I was ever there, there was this same stupid show that like you could tell the production quality was absolutely zero, but it was on every day, and you could count on it, and like
Yeah.
y- it was the wildest things. Like
Right.
I would never watch it, but some people they love it. My
Well,
in-law, my mother-in-law grew up watching that, and my wife even got like almost sucked into that before I saved her and pulled her out of that. I was like, no, you can't go
my
down this
wife,
road.
my wife will watch like Summer Island, or is that what it's called? Summer Island?
I don't know.
Is that the British one? Love Island. That's what it is.
Love Island.
She watches Love Island, which is kind of like trash TV, um, but she's not like obsessed with it. Like it's a reasonable thing. But I think with a lot of those people, they rewatch the same shows or they just watch the trash just to have something on in the background.
Yeah.
Um, and but people aren't paying for the upper tiers of Netflix anymore. A lot of people have done that. They've seen a huge drop off in the amount of premium subscribers on Netflix, but it hasn't
And it's
hurt
gotten
earnings because they
significantly
actually
more expensive too.
what
It's gotten significantly more expensive. You
right,
haven't
and they're losing. Yeah.
the quality doesn't change every time they raise the price.
Hmm.
You still get the same exact thing. And not only that, they went through that period a couple of years ago where they cut down on the ability for people to share accounts. So that's increased the cost to the end user
And that was a big sell
dramatically.
off too on the stock.
Yeah,
Remember when that
dramatic.
happened? That technically is a boost in earnings, but companies only do stuff like that if they're worried about their earnings, right? Because if you don't do stuff like that, it means like whatever, we're coasted. We're making in so much money, we'll worry about that later. Well, then it became later, and then they were worried about how much they were making, so they started cracking down on that.
And it's
And I
done
think,
nothing but like double in price since that point. Like
right,
the actual subscription has gone from I don't even know how much I pay for mine, but I have like whatever the top tier is, and it started off I think at like $8 or $9 a month, and I'm sure it's like 30 something at least now, if not more than that.
I think I have it, but only because I'm really bad about subscriptions. I really need to end this year go through all of mine and cancel some stuff.
I need to do the same exact thing. Like
Yeah.
I bet you like when I first started and I got rid of my cable and just hooked the internet up to my TV and actually had a computer in my living room. This was back in 2007, so 20 years ago. And so, haven't had cable in 20 years. But when I first started it, it went from being like I think cable was like $90 a month, and by doing that I was saving probably like 50 or $60 a month. But
Right.
now I bet you I'm paying probably like
Way more.
overall, if you added all the subscriptions, it's probably $200 a month. I'm just paying in stupid subscriptions.
Yeah, it's just a new cable now. It's very sad.
They
It's very
bamboozled us.
sad. They
They
bamboozled
got us
us.
good.
Yeah. But I wonder if AI can disrupt that, right? And eventually I wonder if I could just say, I want to watch a show that has this and about this and then AI can just spit out whatever I want to watch. A full 100 seasons with 30 episodes each of whatever show I want. You
Maybe.
know, maybe I gotta buy like a supercomputer at home, but I mean, I would probably do that, like over and just pay my AI subscription, which who knows to pay for AI. Then AI is probably free, but I mean, that's probably what's coming. And then I don't
Or
watch
even in the
anything.
meantime,
The
like
only
I
reason I
want
would
to
watch something else is if I'm like, oh, this guy makes such good shows, and so I go to him. Like I outsource my creativity to him.
I want a AI application that is like that Rocket whatever it's called, Rocket whatever for your subscriptions that saves you money on subscriptions. I want
Rocket
an AI
Bunny.
powered Rocket Money or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want an AI powered solution where I can just type in, here's this bank account, that bank account, that bank account. I want you to go through and look for any subscription, and then I want you to also prompt me for the login information for all of those subscriptions and then go through and give me an actual, hey, of all these subscriptions you should get rid of this one, this one, this one, and this one, and here's why.
Huh. There's gotta be an AI for that, right? I wonder.
It couldn't be that difficult.
Yeah, it can't be.
All you'd have
Okay.
to have is the history from each platform.
Speaking of new products and new innovations. Let's end with this last prompt. What's the best new tech or product you're looking forward to next year? Or what do you think will be considered the best new products or tech?
I mean, I've been looking forward to these AI robots for a long time. Like, can we please get something that actually works out there in the actual marketplace? That would be cool. Like,
Yeah.
even if it's, 50 grand to start, like, let's just get some people having some of these things that we've been promised for the last 10 years
Yeah.
so we can evaluate them in real life. Like, I want to go over to my rich neighbor's house that's like, I just bought this $300,000 Tesla robot and look what it can do. And then I want to be like, yeah, you're a moron, or yeah, that's really cool.
Right. No, that's fair. That's fantastic. Um, I actually, that's pretty much what I'm looking forward to. I think the upset could be at these hydrogen vehicles, which have started to get some traction if they take off, and that also leads to a pretty bad collapse in Tesla stock.
I think a lot has to happen on the like the broader scale in order for that to even be a thing. Because
Right.
like we
But
talked
even
about
if
the
you get
whole
a few
patent
cheap prototypes working, that can get rough. I because
problem with that is the global disruption of the fossil fuel industry.
right.
There's going to be a lot of barriers that the fossil fuel industry will
Well,
not.
there's a lot but there's going to be a lot of barriers. I mean, that's why, but probably one of the biggest winners next year. Well, the the trend that I think will continue even stronger than AI is the rare metals trend.
What about
Um,
solar?
but not even just in like gold and silver. I mean the actual applications. So like I think gold, let me be clear. I think gold could get hammered and silver could keep chugging along because it's used in robotics and it's used in solar and it's used in and chips. And gold isn't used hardly at all in any of that. So I think
Using chips.
palladium can
Yeah.
keep running. I think that, I think MP can do
But
really well because we
did
need
you
the
see
magnets for the
palladium today?
drones
It
and
was
the what?
palladium totally flat on a 10% down move in silver and gold. Like these other metals getting hit, but palladium really didn't sell off.
Yeah, which I think is well. I think that's because the EV revolution that everyone says is dying is not dying at all. I think China's just leading, just dominating internationally. And you could buy a new BYD for $8,000. It doesn't matter if you hate EV. I mean, if you're broke and you need a cheap car and there's places to charge it, even if you're kind of like, you get in it and you're like, this is $8,000. It's so nice. It's way nicer than an $8,000 gas car. And
It's
that's how
amazing what
EV
slave
takes
labor
over.
creates.
What?
I said it's amazing what you can make with slave labor.
Well, it's not even that. They don't even have slaves. They have automated factories like Elon. That's why it's so cheap.
Even down in even down in Mexico now, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So it's all, and that's probably only gonna get cheaper as we get into this. I
Well,
mean, that's the red
it can't
herring
get more
for
expensive.
massive disinflation.
It can't get more expensive. Like if we continue down this road where everything continues to get more expensive, we're just entering into a hyperinflation, and we're going to go down the road of Iran, Venezuela, all these other different countries. Like there has to be something at some point that gives. So like
What do you mean with
just like the TV,
disinflation? You don't think we're gonna go to
yeah, we're just
hyperinflation? You
yeah.
think we're gonna get disinflation?
I don't know either way, but I'm saying if we continue down this road
Oh,
of inflation that we're seeing now, that's going to be extremely bad for everybody.
I think we would
So
already have.
just like the principle of like think about what it cost for a large screen TV 20 years ago, right?
Right. It's come
Even
down. I mean,
relative,
just tech in
even
general.
even relative, yeah, even relative to
Right.
inflation, like when you take it, it's still cheaper monetarily. Like I think my first TV, and this was 20 years ago, my first big screen TV cost $700, the
Right.
first one that I bought. Now I can buy a better TV that's a larger, and the quality is 1,000 times better, and the price is way lower. But we're not necessarily seeing that in the automobile industry, especially with the EVs and any of the automobile industry. So like w- the principle behind the technology development with things like computers and what's the name of that? Like how efficient the efficiency. There's a name for it. I can't remember it right now. But effectively, it's like a law, some so and so's law, where like you can expect it to double every whatever time period, the processing power and all that, the efficiency of it,
Oh,
and then the cost. There's a what? I sound stupid. I can't remember what it's called, but there's a law that basically describes this phenomena, but
I
we're
know
not
what you're talking
seeing
about,
it.
but I also can't think of it because that's
Yeah,
is
but
that
we're
the
not
same? Is
seeing it
that
in
the
other
same
industries.
adoption curve people were talking about for crypto? Is that what you're talking about? Is that what you're referring to?
No,
I keep wanting to say
different.
Murphy's. So that's not
Uh,
right.
Murphy's law? No, that's if something bad
I know,
can
I
happen to you,
know,
it will.
I know that's not. I know that's not right.
I want to say Moore's law or something. I don't know. Um, but effectively, we're not seeing it in certain like highly driven technological fields the same way we saw it with like computers and chips and TVs and all these different
Yeah,
types of
you're right.
electronic
It's Moore's
components.
law.
Okay. Yeah, but we're not seeing it translate into these other industries. Like the cost of these vehicles just keeps going up and up. Even though they have more computer parts and components in them, they're able to do better things. We're not seeing an actual discounting in price. Whereas with all these other technologies, we saw discounting in price. The better they got, the better they got, the better they got, the cheaper it was. Even if you are not even accounting for inflation.
Right. Okay.
So something's got to give where we eventually get to a point like you're talking through automation, through AI, through whatever it is, or we can get the cost of these cars like China has down, maybe not to 8,000, but something's got to give. We can't just keep going on this trajectory of things just get more and more expensive every day.
Yeah, you're right. No, I agree, and that would be a brighter future. But I think it starts with energy getting cheaper, and then innovations in AI, and then it all accelerates. Future looks pretty good. If we can kind of clear up some of the geopolitical chaos. But anyways, we got to call it there. I'm running out of time. You had a strict deadline, and
Oh yeah,
I
we're
can
like 15
hear.
minutes past.
Yep. So I thanks everyone for tuning in. Thanks Abe. Everyone, I hope you enjoy the new year. And yeah, leave a like if you want us to do a round two, and maybe we'll do a round two tomorrow. Okay. God bless.
We definitely won't. God bless. All
Peace
right,
out.
bye.
Bye.